Hello everyone. Good morning. We'll start in next 5 minutes. We'll wait.
Actuarial Exams.
Hello. We are now ready to begin. On behalf of Institute of Actuaries of India, I would like to welcome you all to the Saturday Summit Exam Edition. Today's session titled Exam Edition Saturday Summit. This edition features insights and guidance from the fellow members of Institute of Actuaries of India to help you all navigate the actual exam process very effectively. Thank you all for joining us. Without further delay, I would like to invite Mr. Gurpreet Babbar, Fellow of Institute of Actuaries of India, to take the session forward. Over to you, Mr. Gurpreet.
Hello. Thank you so much, Riddhi. Just a mic check again. I'm audible and visible clearly, right?
Yes, yes, you are.
Great. So first of all, welcome all, and I would first like to thank Institute of Actuaries of India, not just for inviting me, but having this opportunity for all the students. I think this I am really liking this opportunity. If I would have added our time, it have been much value, so that students can get to know best practices. They can get all the motivation and all the important points they can get to know just before the exam and be ready for the exams. So I think it's a very great initiative. So kudos to Institute of Actuaries of India. I think starting with, I think first I would say that all of you, let's have three long breaths. So that again, it's an exam session. We all are very tense and also don't let's not start this session with that tense atmosphere, but to be in that real zone, to be in more in the present and not thinking about what will happen in the future when exams are there. So let's take a deep breath. Great. I think we are all settled now to start the session. While I would be covering most of the areas where we kind of do our exam preparations and how can we do our exam preparations in a way that guarantees our success to the most. What actually, if I talk about my actual story and what actually has been one guiding line for me is consistency over intensity. There's a very famous quote that we all know that every journey starts with a single step. In our case, our actual journey is now 13. We did 15. And that every step also has couple of sub steps built into it. So our journey is of long steps. While we would want to go with lot of intensity and would lot of, would you say, Josh, but we might not be able to complete it or in that fast pace or what you guys say, a lot of intensity or maybe getting tired or getting exhausted and not getting that real results. So one thing that is for actuaries, because anyways, as compared to any other professional fields, R is a very long journey. So consistency and having that consistency built in you over in day and day out over a long course of period is very important. So consistency. If I talk about my actual journey, I would partially divide into three zones. One where I was started my actual journey into my college, when I was studying in college, then the initial years of job, and then I would say most of post-COVID when we got to the online mode. I think one thing, of course, which I'm talking is the consistency. Earlier in college, we used to have time. We were also figuring out that what all things are there for actual, and to give that all of that time, that okay, at least try to study for 3, 4 hours a day. And that was the thing. I think most of the students you are now doing that or would be doing. Once you start working, and specifically when I was starting to working, it was like a 5 day routine. And it is a tough thing for people to kind of study in that consistency because now it's a total shift. We have to do well in our office, which we have recently joined, and also do well in our studies. So, as a matter of fact, just to be consistent every day, while I was traveling, so I live in Delhi, I used to travel to Gurgaon every day to study a bit, maybe in metro, maybe in cab, maybe a few pages, getting up early in the morning and getting while coming back in metro, few pages every day. Of course, weekends and study leaves are there, but those few pages of consistency added a lot to what actually I'm able to contribute. And then the post-COVID world, when we all maybe came back to work from home and kind of studying. While work from home, we expected that we will get much time, but work from home also meant for most of us that our office and personal lives are lines are blurred. So they could be office work any time of the day. And you can say study is also not very short, what slots you have to take. So again, those consistency that whatever time we are finding in day and day out, that consistency over that intensity. Why I say this? Because then there is a tendency to go for long. Actual journey is not a marathon. It's not a 100-meter race. It's a marathon. So that consistency in your mindset is very important. When I was kind of inviting all of you to join on LinkedIn of and register for this seminar, the one quote I that referred to was that exam success is much of a game of mindset, preparation, and handling pressure. And the mindset of having that consistency is very important. So once you have that consistency, as the quote saying right now on the slides, that your actual story, it would be now your actual story, and your struggle today is your story tomorrow. Next slide, please. On this next slide, we would be just covering a bit of how to be more active in your exam preparation and having a strategy to it rather than having it very passively. Many of times, what we try to do, and this has happened with me as well, we try to just maybe if you are going to prepare for an exam, we get the core reading, we start reading it. Okay, let's do this chapter in this much time, and then they will do these many mock exams, and then we will revise and go. Often, this is the case, and what I have discussed and got to know, of course, with used to happen with me also, that whatever timelines we are building for ourselves, that never happened. Till the end, also, we were figuring that how to kind of complete our core material, how to have those number of mock exams which we really plan to, how to have that revision which we really plan to. So in short, we were just doing blind hard work, but not having a proper strategy to it. And because of that, our hard work maybe at times did not result too much because, and specifically, I talk about when we are starting our office journey and also we are starting to work in whatever format. With college days, it might be all okay. We are doing that. We find a lot of time for studies. We can skip our college, whatever, and do. But when we specifically start to work, it becomes really tough somewhere to find that time. And if you don't have a great strategy, maybe even after doing a lot of hard work, we would find ourselves in that last moments that we are not able to do well. So first of all, what is important when you pick an exam is to start early, as early as possible. If you have just given exam, for example, you will give this May exam, your next exam is in November. Before the result of this May exam comes, whatever exam you're going to appear in November, your first study should really happen by that time. So you have to be very proactive. Don't leave that study schedule behind. Like do a reverse planning with milestones. Okay. And start early. Don't leave that habit of study. This is my exam and have that buffer zone also. Because with experience, you know that your timelines will not be met. So start early. That is very important and have time box study slots. Again, something you're doing, but try to have it very realistically that, okay, this is personally what I would say. Till the time as an actuary we qualify, there is like somewhere we will find ourselves incomplete even if our one exam is left. So we have to complete our journey, and the fastest we can do is the what you say much would add much more value to us. So there is no point delaying it because further delays will cause further delay because then we get lot of responsibilities in life, etc., etc. To having those dedicated slots every day, even if it's a 15-minute slot, what it will help you to have that mindset that I'm studying. Third thing is that to have active recall. What so again, we have to be very mindful. We have to have that mindset. When we are reading through our exam core material, sometimes it's just a reading. And every time we read, we find, okay, this is something new. And we keep reading it 2 times, 3 times. And even after reading it multiple times, there is no that great satisfaction because somewhere we are using our minds passively. We have to use active recall. Active recall, you can say that while you are reading first time, maybe have some notes, little bit summary to it, and try to, when you're revising it the next time, maybe try to have, again, these slides got away, try to have, remember those concepts that you kind, that you try to learn in your summary. Riddhi, can we have those slides back?
Yes, yes, just give me a second.
Okay, I'm just keep talking. So try to have those summary. Again, at this point also, when like only couple of days remaining before the exams, yes, rereading would be good, but try to recall those that, okay, this was the concept, and that will help you somewhere understand that where actually you are lagging. That is very, very important to have as an exam strategy. Fourth, the thing which is very important that yes, we are going through, but clearing an exam is a test of knowledge for sure, but giving an exam and clearing it is an art. If you talk about from an exam perspective, understanding your whatever past exams have happened is also really important. What all has happened, what all new developments are happening, and we need to understand how actually whatever we are learning that gets examined. So mastering the examiner's report, that okay, understanding, and my personal strategy would be that don't do it very late in your exam journey. While you are preparing for an exam, it would be good to go through the concepts and maybe start to pick up your past exam papers just to understand that, okay, how this concept is really examined and what the examiner might be asking. We need knowledge because without conceptual clarity, we won't be able to answer. But also to understand that how we would be examined early on helps us a lot. Okay. And also practicing the writing like a professional and mocks in real exam conditions is something again we all do, but we don't understand the importance of it. Specifically, we are giving exams from home. We have to prepare for all the contingency that can happen. They would be covered in the later slides also, but to prepare for all the contingencies that, okay, there might be a power shortage, there might be a laptop issue, there might be so and so things, and how to be like exam ready. And having those contingencies taken into place and you giving exams in mock conditions, like if the exam is for 3 hours and 15 minutes, try to give in 3 hours. Analyze your exam, see with against that all examiners report are kind of what examiners is saying, and see that where we can revise our concepts. One strategy there specifically, when we are trying to, again, first have your knowledge, and when we are actually trying to get through what real mock exams or what past papers have been, you can do a Excel, make an Excel of your past papers. Like for example, take last 10 papers, try to break them down. Okay, first there were 3 questions in each past paper, suppose, and every question has 15 parts. So try to do that. Okay, this paper had 15 parts to it. What each part had marks for, and which concept or which knowledge or which chapter was examined. And then have an Excel where you will be able to see that, okay, what all are more important concepts that are maybe examined. Of course, we need to cover all, but from an exam point of view, clearing an exam point of view, understanding those concepts that which are more important or might be more examined, getting to know them that, okay, in the last, suppose 10 exams, this was asked maybe 30% of the times, or 30% weightage was given to this concept. And then try to also work more if you have to maybe prioritize on different chapters and concepts, and see that are we able to do those well, and also see that when we are able, if we are not able to do those well, we can revise those and get to know that this is maybe our weak area. The very important point, the last 2 points, which actually pre-exam mental condition. I'm sure, and we can maybe raise your hands, we all are very, very nervous at this point. And this nervousness and kind of this knowing that, okay, what might happen, what might not happen, how to give exams, and this result would mean this outcome, I can do this, all those outcomes are in our mind. And when we are too attached to the outcome, maybe we are not able to do that well, because then that nervousness kicks in. So this is something which is also in the feedback. There is something called as the negative feedback loop. You know, when we are in tense mindset, our mind is not working to its fullest capacity. So suppose we get tense because of the outcome, one, we get nervous, and because of that nervousness, our mind is not working at the fullest capacity. When it's not working, we feel nervous that, okay, we are not able to recall something which we already know. And when that happens, we become more nervous. So there is like a continuous negative feedback loops that keep on happening. We have to break that. Little bit nervousness is good because that means sincerity. So when you get little bit nervous, stop, take deep breaths. Anyways, just maybe pray to God that, God, I have given my best, and try to give your best. Try to detach yourself from the outcome. No worries. I've given my best. I will give my best in the exam also, and then leave the rest to you. Having those detachment is very, very important. If we are too attached to the outcome, maybe in those 3 hours, because whatever knowledge you are having, we have to kind of portray that or show that knowledge in those exam conditions. And if we are not able to do show in those 3 hours, how will the examiner get to know we are knowledgeable enough? So before exam, I get nervous. I'm like panicking. I'm not able to answer, and like you just get blank. Maybe I know concepts well, but I'm not able to write them. So having those, little bit meditation, little bit that healthy stretching exercises, and just kind of remembering this, that detaching yourself from the outcome helps a lot. This will help you to give your best. So there is two things that we have to study our best, and we are able to do our best in exam. That is very important to avoid that negative feedback loop. And last, which feedback loop is, the last point is saying that kind of we all will go to failures through any point of life, be it exam or any other thing. And failures actually teach us a lot. They help us to improve. So I personally also got there was one my CT8 exam. Now it's CM2. I missed it by 1 mark. I thought it's very difficult paper, and I just kind of missed it, and I was sad for 2, 3 months. I know I got kind of from that sadness. I was just also not feeling well in my body and all. I was going to doctors and all, and at the end, I just understand that it's just my mindset that I got sad, and I just have to prepare and appear it again. No worries. I did it well. I missed it by 1 mark. Let it be. But now let's do our best again. No, I think that was not the good thing from my side to do. So feel sad, no worries, because feeling sad is also like, okay, I should do well or whatever happened. Sometimes we feel that uh, this examiner should have given us 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, missing it by small margins. But maybe we will get to it. Leave it somewhere. And I think, again, as you believe in destiny, something better is waiting for you. So give this kind of as a journey. Your life is also a journey. You will learn from these failures. Whatever happened, be an exam. I'm not saying this happened this time, but anytime it happens, you will learn through it. So having that mindset, strong mindset is very important. With a active approach, not a passive approach. One, having all these things taken into account. Remember that clearing an exam is equally a art and science. So you need to be very active and thinking, not like just reading. So I'm just summarizing, not reading. Very actively. Your exam papers very important. How exam papers are coming very important from an clearing exam perspective. Knowledge, of course, because without that your concept would not be clear. And having that mindset of detachment, doing your best and leaving everything to the divine or the God Almighty, and then just be settled, and then preparing for the next one. Okay. So strategic preparation greater than blind hard work. Okay. Next slide, Riddhi, please. So this is the code which you can again, this also says consistency, that discipline will take you place where motivation can't. Yes, we have a motivation. We know what actuarial exams mean for us, but sometimes we get dismotivated and not actually bringing it to action. So without anything, just put your head down, keep working, have that discipline. That will take you to places you can't even imagine. Because what I have seen in my personal journey and otherwise is that consistency is the biggest thing that you can get. It is not being the smartest. It is not having that very high, mindset or somewhere that mind that which can do wonders. But consistency will take you places. And last importantly, which was also covered, that handling failures is very, very important. However, because if you in your mind is maybe in a smallest way that suppose if the extreme of circumstances this failure happens, still I will get back. It's not about how many punches you hit, but how many you got hit and still was standing from that Rocky movie. So if you have that mindset already built up that no matter what, even if I fall down, I will come back. So maybe you will be able to give your best attempt. So when I'm talking about all these things, it's more about mindset, more about preparation, and more about how to handle pressure well. And when the nitty-gritties, they would be covered in the following slides. So thank you, and then over to Naga. Thank you.
Thanks, Gurpreet. Thank you very much for taking us through the exam preparation part. So, most of the days, I think we all prepare well for our exams, but it's also important how we execute the exams. So, I'm here to talk and discuss about the exam day tips, tricks, what you need to be conscious of, what you what is better to do, and what you should avoid. So, on the exam day, and especially the night before, take enough rest. I don't think you will perform your best if you don't get your sleep. So make sure that you get your 8 to 7 hours sleep. Ensure you're clear, you're not tense. Because when you go to the exam with a clear mind, that's when you give your best. And uh, giving a substandard exam, however better you prepare, I don't think it's something anybody would want to do. Even if you pass it, I don't think you'd be satisfied with the amount of effort you put in and with the performance. So make sure that you go with a clear mind. Just make sure you get enough rest. And before the exam, maybe the day before, and especially the day of the exam, don't go through new topics or go through everything at once, revise the whole syllabus again. Don't do such things. I mean, just look at few flashcards. Maybe if you want to do a light reading, that's okay. But don't try to learn new concepts or get deep into things and put too many things into your head, because that'll mess you up and you won't be doing your best. And another thing you need to keep prepared is it's important to prepare for the exam, not just the content, but also other stuff like keep your calculator, photo ID, hall ticket, everything beforehand, ready, printed, whatever. Make sure everything is ready the day before so that on the day of exam, you're not worried about getting these in time. At before exam time, it was not even at exam time. Let's keep some buffer of 15-20 minutes before you just settle down in the exam place. Make sure you don't have anything around, no materials around. Keep all your hall ticket, calculator, everything you need in place. Make sure nothing else is there so that you don't need to worry about that during exam. And when you start your exam, you need to have a clear mind and just make sure you're focused completely on the exam and nothing external. And it's also advisable to do a small system check. Need not do a mock exam kind of thing. It's just a simple system check because if there's any technical glitch, you'll be able to identify it faster. So having that 15-minute buffer, it also helps. Like if you do a system check and if you find any issues, you can quickly escalate it and your exam time is not very impacted. So before the exam, keep these things in mind. And moving on to when you're writing the exam, Riddhi, could you go one slide forward? Yeah. So when your exam starts, make sure you read the questions carefully. Maybe in the first 10 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, just go through the whole question paper, understand all the questions, what you know, what you are not very confident about, what is very new to you. Just read all the questions carefully. And while reading the question, just be conscious of what they're asking for and you're not, misunderstanding or going very deep into it. So when you're formulating your answer, make sure it's based on what's asked. Like if they're only asking to list, you don't need to elaborate too much. So just make sure you look out, read questions carefully, and you put some time for going through the whole question paper and allocating time. That's the next step. So for each of the sections, questions or sub questions, keep a timer in mentally. I mean, for this question you would like to take this much time and try to follow that as much as possible, and always keep a buffer amount. I mean, don't put that you'll be writing last question till the last minute. Keep a buffer so that if something overspills you can still manage. So having a mental time management, like at sub question level, not even question level, if suddenly you get stuck in one question, you just lose all your time. So to manage that, it's better to keep track and be conscious of how much time you're taking for each question so that you can easily identify after every sub question. Just make sure you are you on track with your time expectations or are you overshooting. Then you need to do the next question faster so that it's compensated. So keep that in mind while writing the whole exam, and make sure one of the things you can follow for SPs and where you have to write questions, not MCQs. There, you can start with the easier ones first, or what you're confident of first, so that it builds your confidence and makes you uh, clearer and better. So when you go to the tricky ones, you'll be able to handle it better. Let's say the first question is a tricky one, just avoid it. Don't start thinking about the answer. Just read the question. You know it's tricky, and then just avoid it. Go through the next ones, and then come back to it after the easy ones. That'll build your confidence and also make sure that you manage your time well, and it makes it easier to handle the questions. But if you start with the tricky ones, then you might end up taking more time, or it'll break your confidence, and then even the ones you prepared for, you might not give your best. And for the theory papers, it's sometimes you just skip steps. That's something all students should avoid, because when examiners look into it, they need to understand your rational, like especially if you're giving some conclusions or if you give some suggestions, it's better to give the rational as well and show the method, show the working where possible, so that examiner not just understands your solution but also your rational. That helps them award marks correctly better ways. Sometimes your conclusion might be wrong but your rational might be reasonable, and examiner might feel it's worth awarding marks. And one of the most important parts I hear from my friends at across is when you get stuck in a question, you just uh, feel that you need to get it done now. That is where a lot of students face issue. I mean, when get stuck in an exam, it's most important to take a step back, see the time. If you're lacking on time, skip it because that might not be the worth it. You can handle the rest of them and then come back to it in the end when you have time. Because when you're stuck, if you keep trying to solve that one, you will lose out time on other ones. So it's always time and staying calm and managing the questions. These two are quite important in the exam. And have the conceptual clarity. If there are some tricky questions where you think you know something but you're not effectively able to apply, just put your rationale on the paper so that, or you just typed out that, make sure your concept is clearly communicated. Make sure the examiner will be able to understand your thought process. Sometimes even uh, you need not get complete marks for that question, but if the rationale and the thought process is right, the examiner might award some marks. Sometimes partial credit also is important. Riddhi, can you go to the next slide? Now, going through the exams specifically in each of the series. So for the CT series, most of the part A's are now MCQ questions. For this MCQ question, again, triage your questions, make sure you solve the easiest one first and build your confidence, and keep some time to review the answers. Sometimes it's better to go back and check few things and mark few questions. If you're struggling with them, you come back to it later. And some of the things I hear about CT series exams is that part A and part B, people don't study quite balanced. It's important to focus on part B as well because it tests completely application. So when you're given tools like Excel and R, and you need to build something which you already know, I mean, many students will be confident with the part A part. So they know these concepts, but putting them into application in Excel or R, that's where people struggle. So I feel that's something we need to practice. That's also part of the exam preparation. So be confident with Excel formulas, R formulae, how to code functions in R, what packages can be used, what packages are there. So when a concept is asked, the idea in a CS papers for part B is to test the concept, not your programming skills. That's something it's expected that you know the basic programming skills enough to handle these. So make sure you're confident at those so that you can handle these well. And it's something you need to communicate as well. In part B, you should make sure that all the graphs, tables, results, everything goes into the answer sheet. Suppose there is some process, just think in terms of examiner. You write a code, the examiner might have a different code to get the same result, but how to verify whether it's right or not? So I mean, even if it doesn't ask for you to print the results, maybe you just print the results for first few lines and show that the intended output is what you achieved. And these codes, graphs, everything needs to go into your answer sheet. Even if you just paste the code for writing, I mean making the graph, but you don't put the graph, you'll still lose marks there. So make sure all your output goes into the Word file. Make sure everything you work on is communicated well to the examiner. So if you skip putting this, examiner will only see the code, and that most of the time that won't be enough. And for graphs, make sure they're well labeled, they're well formatted, and if any interpretations or comments are there, even if sometimes they don't ask, write it. If they ask, write it elaborately. Make sure that your intent is conveyed. You can write, let's say you're writing there is a linear trend. You say what's the impact of that, not just what you see, what your interpretation and what's your conclusion. If there are comments for 2 marks, you need to elaborate more. So just make sure you're commenting enough because that carries quite some marks. And for excellent and R, make sure that you save your versions regularly, these files, because on the platform there is an autosave, but for these files it's external. So make sure that you save at any phase. If there's any technical glitch, you should not lose too much of your time, too much of workings you have worked on, that you should not lose that. So make sure to save this. Now moving on to CP series exams. For CP1, Riddhi, can you switch the slide? So for CP1, it covers a breadth of concepts. What's most important here is you always think in terms of a big picture. So when they say you are working as a consultant actuary, let's say, you need to get into that shoes and think about the company. think about all the things that can impact. So this is where the level changes. You don't have specific answers. It's more about understanding the use case and covering everything possible. So think in a business relevant matter, get into the shoes of the case study, what is happening, what is asked. Try to cover as many concepts as possible, cover the breadth of it, think of all the scenarios, how you would do if you were in that position. This is where you behave like the professional. And then when you put it into the practice, when you're writing your questions, just make sure maybe it's first step is to jot down all the points and not just start writing of these points, but maybe put a pointers and then arrange them, see what matters most, and start with the most impacting ones on the top, and then the other considerations. So make sure, and when you write these as well, make sure it's professional tone, keep your bullet points, make sure it's easy to read and easy to follow, because this is all subjective papers. So you need to make sure your points are conveyed clearly. Sometimes it's not the content, but it's the communication that impacts. So make sure it's covered. And sometimes these questions are very narrative. There will be subparts. There will be some part of the question asked someplace, and then some other context. Then another part of the question is asked. Just make sure you cover all the parts of the question, and based on the length, describe like based on the command verb, choose how much deep you need to go, how many points you need to add, and make sure, especially this is one place because it's case study, you can write how many other points you want. So that's where you need to make sure you're tracking your time so that you're not spending too much time on one question and missing out on the other question. So make sure you balance it out. So whatever time you allocate for that question, stop it there, come back to it later on after the other questions. So don't just because you know too much about a concept, just don't deep dive into it too much. Then coming to CP2 modeling practice. This is one paper where most people focus more on the model, but if you see the weightage, audit trail and reports are equally important. If you get stuck in the model, your audit trail will get impacted. So again, time management here is very crucial. If you have, if you let's say set it 1 hour for the model, make sure after 1 hour you're not sitting on the model. Even if it's not working, just make sure you start with the audit trail. You know the objective, you know other parts except the method part where you might need to make some tweaks. Remaining all is independent of the model. Whatever you have built, you need to convey it and then continue on the model. Just make sure your model doesn't take most of your time and it should not impact the documentation. So the same thing holds true for report writing as well. When you're tweaking the model, make sure you don't spend too much time on it because again, the report writing takes quite some time. The time allocated you allocate yourself for report writing should be quite considerate, like based on the marking. If it's more than 50, you need to keep at least 1.5 hours or more. And understand the business case. Always you are given a scenario, and based on the scenario, write your report, write your audit trail. You should know like things. You should know difference between both as well. You don't talk about the model in the report. You talk more of a guided in the audit trail. Just make sure you're not interchanging things, and based on the intent, focus the report that way. And most importantly, again, communication. Make sure you communicate all the assumptions, all the limitations, all the future works, what implications, why you chose to do what you do, why you chose to proceed in a specific way. Giving this input, it's part of the documentation and it definitely carries marks. And coming to another communications, another practice paper where people struggle. So here you I mean everybody would have heard about this, avoid jargons. You should always think like the audience. So the person who is going to read the report needs to understand it. That's how you write your paper. So think other way around, not from the model or from the content, but from the user perspective. Start from the audience and then try to send these same content, same things which they share into a more simpler format so that the audience can understand. And make sure your structure is intact. You have your introduction, purpose, method, conclusion, results, everything with headings, if required, sub parts as well. And this is something you can only build by practice. Keep practicing this, and where needed, you can put tables, graphs, and what insights you're gaining from them as well. Don't just add things for the sake of it. Put them only if they matter. If they don't matter, don't put it. And in CP3, one thing mostly observed is they give too much content, and it's not that everything should be covered or condensed. It's about picking the right parts and putting them in the right order. So, and make sure you use a professional tone. Most of the time, it's going to go to managers of some other departments who don't understand technical actuarial terms. So, make sure you're polite, clear, and your advice is as if you're advising a client, because it's very valuable. At the same time, they don't know much about the what you're dealing with. So, you need to make sure the audience doesn't know much, but needs to understand everything. So you need to limit the content you choose as well. Some of the graphs or tables might not be relevant, and feel free to drop them. Don't think just because they're in the question you need to put them. And moving on to SP and SA series. Now this is where it goes another step up. Well, CP1 covers the breadth of concepts. SP and SA series covers the depth. Riddhi, can we move the slide? Yeah. So when they say you are working as a chief actuary or senior consultant, you're already in their shoes. You need to think that way. So this will involve, I mean, in the preparation, you should definitely get involved, talking to multiple people, different senior actuaries, different position, how they think, how they face their challenges. That definitely helps you in the exam when you think about this. So when you're practicing previous question papers as well, just think about, put yourself in that position and think about whether you're able to think in these lines, whether the examiner report covers what you thought, or if it's is it very drastically different, or how much is overlap, what you're missing out on, everything. And most importantly, the command verbs for SP and SS series, because we can go very deep into these concepts, it's very important to focus on the command verbs based on the how many marks it is and based on what they're asking for, whether it's explain or describe or discuss or analyze. Based on this, choose how deep you want to go. If it's something like explain, you go only to a certain extent. If it's describe, you go even deeper. If it's discuss, you need to go in terms of what are the pros, what are the cons, what is the recommendation. So the way you deal with basically depends on the command verb, and make sure you know it. And also focus on the marks. How many marks is awarded based on that limit sometimes. Then critical thinking. Yeah. For similar to CP1, etc., you need to justify your decisions when you are suggesting something. Don't just think this is something obvious. Just put why you think we need to do this. Whatever actions you're describing or suggesting to the in the company, justify why and in what case they make sense, and in what case you need to avoid them as well. Don't just think every suggestion is going to be uh, is going to hold true for all the scenarios. Sometimes you need to take the decision based on few aspects, and you have to mention them in the clearly in the paper. And another part that's specific to SA series is linking across the domains. When, let's say, they're talking about a risk management, actually that doesn't mean you don't think about other parts of the company or other stakeholders who will get involved in. So you need to link across the domains and think about how different strategies or regulations or anything that could impact in this scenario. So when you get into the scenario, think all around, think from multiple directions. Like, just make sure it's like running a company, right? You think about all the departments, how they will get impacted, all the stakeholders even outside the company, how they get impacted, and generate points based on that. And as always, communication matters the most. Make sure you're writing your logic and sequence it. For this also, it's better to write down the points first, as in just take the notes, a few keywords, and then order them, prioritize, think what makes more sense, what is more important in this case, and put them on top. What you think can be considered or is very rare consideration but needs to go on, that can go down. So make sure you clearly structure it, and then you explain your logic as well. Yeah, thank you. I'll pass on to Ajay to take you through do's, don'ts, and other exam practices.
Thank you so much, Naga. That's very valuable advice to students. So, Riddhi, can you go to the next slide? Hi, I'm Ajay, and I'm representing the exam advisory group in this session. So basically, actuarial exams being home-based examinations has a specific set of rules. And imagine it like this. In a home, the student has complete control of the environment in which the student writes the exam. And the institute has very little control. So, to level the playing field a bit and to make sure that there is no malpractice that is being engaged, the institute has laid out a set of guidelines that it expects you to follow and follow very strictly. And we would urge each and every student to go through these guidelines related to appearing for actuarial examinations and related to student guide and make sure all the aspects of the guide are covered completely. So imagine it like this. You're driving a car and you pass a red light and the cop catches you and then you tell the cop, hey, I didn't know I couldn't cross the red light. And that's not going to be taken very lightly. You're going to be given a ticket. And the exams are far more severe than that because it also concerns your career, not just your driving. So make sure every aspect, the technical aspect, the professional aspect, the environmental aspect, everything is covered and adhered to very strictly. Also ensure that mock examination is attempted without fail. This is made compulsory by the institute. And also, if somebody fails to appear for the mock examination, if they have technical issues during the main examination, they will not be given preference and they will not be able to apply mitigation. So bear in mind that. Do not skip mock examination because this is the test bed for testing your laptop, your microphone, and your camera. Also ensure whatever calculator you are using or whatever actuarial table you are using is approved during the 360-degree view. And you may be asked to repeat the 360-degree view multiple times during the examination if there is something suspicious. So make sure that you're transparent. You show the proctor what is actually in the room rather than showing what you want to show them in the room. I mean, these are trained proctors. They can figure out if the candidate is intending to do malpractice or not. So, I mean, you have, since the exam is in your house, in the environment that you dictate, you have to be as transparent and open as possible with the proctor to ensure that there is no suspicion that is being raised. Because if there is suspicion, which we will discuss in the next slide, there will be a series of steps that will be taken up. And you also have to ensure very basic things like making sure, because it's video monitored, make sure the room is well lit, and also make sure you don't keep going in and out of the screen for silly things like I need to get some water or like I forgot my blank sheet, so I need to take some blank sheets and figure it out. These things are again going to raise suspicion and not reflect well upon you. Can you go to the next slide, please? Riddhi, can we go to the next slide? Yeah. Okay. As you know, the exams are continuously monitored by a human proctor. And these proctors are trained handling malpractice cases in multiple exams. This is not the first exam they're going to be attending. And they know when a candidate is trying to cheat. So this is not an AI. This is a human being who is monitoring you on video and on microphone continuously. So don't try to do anything smart. And also, if there is a violation that is flagged by the proctor, they may ask you to stop the exam immediately. I mean, depending on how severe it is. For example, let's say you start seeing a mobile phone in between the examination. And for a proctor, that doesn't reflect pretty well. The immediate implication is that you're cheating. You may be asked to do an explanation right there. I mean, if it's a case of mobile phone, it's pretty straightforward. But for less minor offenses, you may be asked to explain. You may be asked to do another 360-degree view. And in spite of the proctor allowing you to continue for the exam, your case will still be flagged. It will still go to the disciplinary committee. And the onus is basically on the candidate to make sure that they are well prepared with regard to the guidelines and the environment. And there is no suspicion that is being raised with the proctor. Because if there is a suspicion, it goes to the disciplinary panel. They will call you, they will interview you, read the circumstances. And because these are trained proctors, 90% of the time, there will be a penalty levy. Usually the ban can extend 2 years and your exam results could be cancelled. In a more severe case, and we've had instances of this in the previous examinations, your employer, if they fund your paper because they're investing so much in you with respect to time, with respect to commitments on salaries, and with respect to commitments on paying the examination fees, we have to disclose it to your employer if they come and ask us. And that will not generally bode well if you are found in a malpractice case. So can we go to the next slide, please? So what sort of malpractice? And in the past 2 or 3 examination attempts, we've had some really weird cases, really weird unprofessional cases, I would say, of people coming up with very child-like excuses, right? Like, for example, I had to check my mobile phone for hotspot connectivity. And the exam guidelines are pretty clear. You're not supposed to use mobile phone for hotspot during an examination. You have to use broadband internet. If the again, we'll deal with exceptions in the next slide. But by rule, you are not supposed to use mobile hotspot. It's not allowed. So if you had to check your mobile for hotspot connectivity, that is a violation. No excuses there. And you may be asked by the proctor, like I said, to stop the exam immediately. And there are other excuses, like we've seen, where candidates have come out and said, "Hey, I had to step out of my screen because my 1-year-old came in," or my dad came into the room to wish me best of luck halfway during the exam, or I had to shut down my microphone or camera because of one reason or another. Or even worse, it's like we've had cases where 3, 4 candidates have attempted the exam from the same room, virtually the same room, and they said we didn't really have anywhere else to attend this from. And again, I'll come to this exceptions later, but the guidelines are pretty clear in all of these cases that don't do any of this. And also, electronic devices, it doesn't matter whether it's on, it doesn't matter whether it's off. You're not supposed to have any electronic device in the room. Calculator, of course, is an electronic device. You can have that. But I'm talking about mobile phones, televisions, PlayStations, Nintendos, laptops, desktop computers. It doesn't matter what it is, or even a monitor, right? If there is presence of a monitor, it will raise a flag. And we have had candidates in the past who have been penalized for having electronic devices. Because honestly, if you empathize from the institute's point of view, there is absolutely no chance for us to know whether your electronic device is being turned on by somebody else during the examination and something's appearing in your screen. Because the 360-degree happens once, maybe twice. So the rule is very clear. Don't try to have any electronic. The room that you're attempting from should be closed, locked. Nobody should be entering in and out of the room. There should be no noises that is audible. And there should be no electronic devices or study material or diary. So please make sure, again, I repeat this, please make sure you go through the guidelines and prepare the room accordingly, or prepare the environment accordingly. And let's say you're not able to meet this criteria, right? And this happens in some cases. Like I've seen people do this, where in the previous examination, there was a case of 2 candidates who wrote to the examination in advance saying, 2 of us live in the same room. We don't really have anywhere else to write. What should I do? And the answer is pretty simple. Reach out to the institute first, like I said, and try to figure out a solution by yourself as well. For example, if you're in Mumbai, you can go to the institute and write the examination, but you have to intimate the institute in advance. And also, you can also do things like booking a co-working space, a meeting room in a co-working space, and write the examination from there. Like, don't try to do anything last minute where you panic and you do something you're not supposed to do, and then things don't go your way. And whatever you do after the examination starts, make sure you do it from a proctor's perspective. For example, let's say you're stepping out of your screen for some absolutely unmitigated reason. The proctor's permission is needed. Make sure you inform the proctor. Like, don't do anything sudden without telling them. Because imagine this, if you're writing the examination from a center, you would be expected to not leave the room. And you would be expected to be within the visual area of the invigilator. And home-based examination is very similar. Like, you have to approach this with a certain level of professionalism and again adhere to the guidelines. And in case you had a violation, Um, write to the institute immediately, as soon as possible. Like, don't wait for 5, 10, 20 days to get over, where you get a call from the disciplinary committee to appear for a interview. Like, that's the worst case situation. If something's happened that shouldn't be happening, let's say somebody broke the lock in your room and came in. Write to the institute the next day. Tell the proctor immediately that somebody's entered the room and they're like, you're really sorry, you'll ask them to go out immediately. Show them, ask them to move out. Like, the key here is transparent communication. Like, you have to create an environment where you are telling the proctor that you are attempting the exam from a good faith. Can you go to the next slide, please? And just to conclude, some points to remember, like, this is a professional examination. You are expected to be appearing this with a level of sincerity and integrity and not behave like a school kid at the end of the day. Like, you're trying to be an actuary, you're not appearing for a fourth standard or a fifth standard examination. So we expect you to write the exam like an actuary. And you have to attempt this like you attempt a center-based examination. I know in most cases, like I said, you control the environment, make sure the environment is cooperative or conductive. And in case, and we've had candidates come back in the past to us, and they've told us that the proctor is asking to perform a 360-degree view in between the examination. And yeah, the proctor can do that. It's perfectly within the right of the proctor. Just like, for example, in a center-based examination, you will have an invigilator come, ask you to show whatever sheets you're having, just to make sure there's no malpractice. So I'm okay. It's very possible that this disrupts your line of thought, maybe waste a minute or two, but in the overall context of things, the proctor has the right to do this, and if necessary, they will do it. So please cooperate. Do not make a fuss out of it. Another point that I would like to stress on behalf of the institute is we know that there are certain Telegram and WhatsApp groups that engage in malpractice. These are being in surveillance by the institute, but they're working with the relevant authorities and they're carrying out an investigation. So the very presence of you in any of these groups, directly or indirectly, doesn't matter. It will lead to disciplinary action. So if you know any of these groups, and if you've been part of any of these groups in the past, go to the institute, be transparent, tell your case, come out. Because once you get caught, it's a very clear case of a ban and beyond. I mean, given what authorities can do. So don't try to do anything fancy here. If you're part of any of these groups, be transparent, say that you've been part of this group, you're getting out, your name should not be impacted. That's fine. The institute will take it in the good light. But if you're caught beyond after the investigation is over, and if the authorities basically give out your name, it's going to be a disaster for you. And of course, there will be issues while you're writing the examination for a few candidates, right? And these are natural. For example, you may have a power cut, you may not have an inverter, your broadband can go down. These things are like absolutely possible. And in these cases, contact the institute immediately. The phone numbers are in the guidelines that were circulated yesterday. Keep a copy of it outside the room. And if something does happen where you have to call the institute, if you're online with the proctor, tell the proctor, call the institute in front of the proctor. If you're not online with the institute, or if you're not online with the proctor, call the institute immediately based on the paper that you've kept outside the room. So don't panic. There is a solution for everything. It's just how you work it out. And again, if you had a violation, if you've done something you're not supposed to do, write immediately explaining your case within a day or whatever the guideline says. Don't wait till the invigilation committee, the disciplinary committee calls you and make it worse for yourself. So that'll be it from my end. Thank you. Riddhi, do you want to take over?
Hello.
Yeah, hi, Riddhi. Do you want to take over?
Yeah, the
Questions.
students begin with the Q&A now. If any questions need to be asked, can drop in the questions in the Q&A column. Or the students can raise hands. I'll unmute and then you can speak up your question.
Hi, this is Nitin. Can I ask my question?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Okay. So my question is very particular. Uh, Actually, I missed the mock exams. I'm supposed to take CP3 on the 29th of this month, and I missed taking the mock test. So I wanted to ask if we are supposed, I mean, are we expected to make graphs uh, in this CP3 exam? Because I'm not familiar with with the editor. I mean, I've taken Indian exams, but I'm not sure if we can use the editor to make graphs. And are these expected in CP3 exams, in the India exams? So that's my question.
So Nitin, so here's the thing. Attempting mock is kind of compulsory. So get in touch with the institute and have them send you another link for attempting mock, if possible. Because one, you may face technical issues in your laptop, which you may lead you to not finishing your exam. Or, like you said, there'll be certain features in the examination platform, the medal platform, which you may not be sure of. So I would urge you to call the institute immediately, ask them if they can set up another mock or what best can be done in that perspective.
Okay, but can anyone in this group uh, help me answer this question? If somebody has taken this exam in the past, is there a feature that allows you to make those graphs using the data provided?
Um, so not like 100% sure, but I think in CP3 or the exams which we are having, I think Naresh can from the institute can add on that. But we are not required to make any graphs as such. So
Yes. So
yes, so I don't think there is a need of any graphs as such.
The reason why I'm asking this is because while I was going through the November 2024 exam and the indicative answer, in the indicative answer, a graph has been provided. So, if the graph is not expected, then why provide it in the indicative solution in the first place? That,
So Nitin,
that
again,
confuses me.
here's the thing: like none of us are setting the CP3 paper, and even if we did set it, it wouldn't be the case that we would share this information. So, like again, whether a graph is required or not is completely left up to the person who's setting the paper. And if you are unsure, get in touch with the institute to have a mock done. I don't think this would be the forum to answer that because this examination paper is set according to the criteria of the person who's made in charge, and that could vary from exam to exam. So get in touch with the institute. The only way to know this is by actually doing the mock.
Okay, sure. So I think I'll get in touch with the institute for that. That's one question. I have another one, a very quick one. So during my past experiences of taking online exams with IAI, I've noticed that even if I just slouch back on the seat, for a second or two just to relax, I've been asked to, kind of sit straight up. And, it's very difficult to sit straight up for 3.5 hours at a stretch. So, I mean, we can't even just slouch and relax a bit. So don't you think it's a bit tough on us?
Um, okay, I'll answer this from two perspectives. So it could be possible that your room was not well lit or something. So if the invigilator does not have a clear line of sight to your video, they may ask you to come within the frame. It doesn't matter whether you're slouching or not slouching. That's beyond the point. The idea is that you should be within the frame that is visible to the proctor. And
Okay, so
in
what I
my
can gather
experience,
from Okay, so
yeah,
what I can
in
gather
my
from your
experience,
responses that if I slouch, I better move my camera as well so that they can view me all the time.
yes, as long as
Okay.
you're within the frame, you're fine.
Okay.
And we've had absolutely zero cases which has been escalated because somebody slouched. the proctors are trained. The only objective of the proctor asking you to do this is because they want to see what you're doing, and
Yeah,
you
sure.
agreed to sign up for that.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
So
That's all from my side.
Hello.
yeah, go ahead, Harsh.
Hello.
Go ahead.
So thank you for having my question. So I wanted to ask, what is the limit for the number of rough papers that we can keep during the examination for solving the questions?
Limit for blank papers or graph papers?
No, blank papers to do the calculations and all.
I don't think anything specific is mentioned in the guidelines. You, but normally,
Yes,
as long as they're blank,
yeah, you can
yeah,
use
go
up
ahead.
to 2 to 3 blank sheets. You have to show it to proctor before using that.
Yeah, but actually the 2 to 3 blank sheets are actually really less as compared to the length of the paper, right? It takes usually around 12 sheets.
You can take permission from the proctor to use more sheets. You can have it handy. Then you can take the permission from proctor and you can use that as well.
Okay, so that's one question. I have just another small question. Is that I have a scientific calculator. The name is mentioned in the approved calculator list, but there is a ES in the front, like something extra, right? It is exactly the same with functioning and all. So will that be allowed, or will there be a problem in that?
I think we can discuss this offline. You just reach out to us, you drop us an email. We will get back to you on that part.
Yeah, again, the
Sure.
key here is transparent. Like before the exam, contact the institute with the model photograph and get approval from the institute. Then, if the proctor asks, you can
Sure.
always show them the email. This is allowed.
Correct.
Okay. 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 Got it.
And
Got it. I will
and
email
Harsh,
them. Sure. Yes.
for the
Yes.
blank sheets, it's a good practice to number your blank sheets and just show like to the proctor that I have numbered these blank sheets and I would be
Mhm.
using them as needed. Right now, I'm just pulling 5 maybe, and I've kept rest aside. I will just pull and show you 6 to 10. So something just the idea is that you can understand from the perspective that okay, from the proctor or the institute side that they are 100% sure that your intent is goodwill. You are in acting in a good faith. So I think that's the overall thing. And also, of course, taking care of the guidelines. So if there is something specific not mentioned regarding maybe any other thing, think from the perspective that how can you show yourself in good faith and you're not compromising any integrity or appear to be. So I think that's for everyone.
Sure. So thank you for taking my question. Thank you.
Simanti, go ahead.
Yeah, sir, actually, I just need a suggestion on that essay paper. Like, I always struggle to complete the paper on time, particularly the last, for the second question, the last couple of parts. I mean, is there any suggestion how to go about the essay paper? Because they are very lengthy and you have two case studies and all that. So, is there any suggestion available for essay?
I think I will.
Which essay paper is this? Specifically?
Yeah, it's essay 4.
Okay. So Simon, I think at these things we face like specifically in theoretical exams of kind of completing the paper. I think I'll share a good practice which I also personally followed because I also faced the same issue. If it works for you or otherwise for everyone, that would be nice. So we know that we have like 3 hours and 15 minutes, and I think uh, in theoretical exams it's also like writing the most as much as we can and also generating unique and valid points and going into depth rather than breadth as mentioned in the slides also. So it would be good that somewhere when we know when the question paper has come, suppose the question has 3 questions, question paper has 3 questions, each question has 5 parts. So we try to complete like we maybe set, it's a strategy again, exam strategy. We have 3 hours and 15 minutes. So set maybe 3 hours for doing all the parts. So suppose just maybe saying that, okay, only I have 3 hours. Let me give me each part this much time allotted because of how much marks that part is carrying, and try to complete. And maybe by that time, irrespective that you have felt that satisfaction of writing whatever you wanted to write in that part, you just move, because time is also a constraint in theoretical exams. It's important to attempt the whole paper, because anyways, if we have studied well, we would be having unique points for every part. That is the intent of making that exams also. So just try to complete your paper, whatever maybe, and maybe circle something, or maybe just come back to that once your 3 hours are gone, that okay, you have 10 to 15 minutes left. Then come back to the parts where you feel that okay, I could have written more. This way, I personally felt that it would be nice to complete all the paper in that goal. Like, I have at least attempted, maybe not 100% what I wanted to, but at least it would be very near. As compared to what used to happen, that okay, I have 3 questions, I will spend the most time in the first question, then in the second question. By the time I'm reaching the third question, maybe many parts are left altogether. So it might be that generating unique points, which as an exam strategy to get maximum marks, it would be best to attempt each part in a way, and maybe couple of parts would not be like 100% as you wanted, but you would be like maximizing your marks in that strategy. So that is my suggestion for that.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
just to add to Gurpreet, one of the things I've noticed in the higher level papers, SP and SA level papers, is the tendency for students to repeat the same point again and again in different wording. So the objective is to generate points that are unique and adding value to the answer, and not to basically repeat the same point in multiple verses. So you'll have to be very concise, and a single unique point usually carries a specific mark. And if you repeat the same point, you're not going to get more marks than that. So if you reduce the redundancy here, you will save time as well.
Good point. Just to add on to what Ajay and Gurpreet shared, uh, for these, I feel it's important to practice as well, because it's majorly time management for the exam. So maybe when you're giving your mocks, have some real exam type mocks wherein you're not disturbed for 3 hours, and you practice the time management as well. Like whatever Gurpreet mentioned, practice it beforehand. Don't try to just execute it on exam day. Practice few days before so that you are used to it. And while generating points and writing, it should mean you need to be a little conscious of how much time we are taking. So that's something we can practice and imbibe. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Feedback was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Sir, how to import data from Excel to our software, sir? The only way I found is just writing that path in a piece of paper and then typing it in our studio. But it take so much time. Is there any easier way to import data from Excel to R?
I think it depends. I don't think exam software allows copy paste from outside the platform. So that will be a limitation there.
Yes,
But
sir. But you have provided some videos regarding that art studio. In that also we have only read the file dot choose. That command is available. But if we stick on that command, that will access that access must be running behind the exam browser. That is, we have to end the exam section and we have to give access to us and access to that and come again and join that. So it is not possible there. Only possible way is that we can't able to copy that path also. We just want to write that entire path and then type it in our studio, and then only we are able to import the data. So it's so time consuming, and also no videos are available how to import that data.
okay. From what I understand, I remember in our studio you'll have a file explorer kind of tab. From there, you should be able to navigate and get the path. You need not like write down the whole thing. You can just navigate there. Then if you set it as a working directory, you can directly read data from that specific directory. But I don't think if there are any other ways. Gurpreet or Ajay, do you know of anything else?
No,
Okay, sir.
I'm not aware. So maybe sure.
Yeah, Raman.
So just write to maybe the institute, and of course, institute will have an answers or couple of suggestions for that.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shall I raise my query?
go ahead.
yeah, sure.
Yes. So while attending CS1B mock paper, that is the paper, while copying a dataset for a particular kind of question from a given word file, I faced a severe kind of technical glitch that my R crashed for a while, and my abruptly my test got ended as the entire system was hung for a while. So I tried to contact the proctor, but I haven't received any answer. Sir, how should I approach such kind of concerns?
Naresh, can you answer that if you're there?
Yes. So, Proctor is not for the technical assistance. If you face such issues during the exam, you reach out to the institute or the technical support to help you for the technical issues. And in
All right,
regards
sir. All
to
right.
technical requirements, you just ensure that you meet the technical requirements and the uh, minimum required memory on your system before appearing for the mock exam or
Oh,
for the
okay,
actual
sir.
exam.
Okay, sir. To exactly elaborate, the R system crashed for a while. There were multiple files that were getting opened into the background, and at the same time, my PC got hung. And for a while, I pressed mistakenly on the end test button. So my after 5 minutes, as the system got activated again, the test was ended. And when I tried to again shift to the test and try to practice it, I was not able to see the test also.
So you have to first close the files that are open on your R software first before logging into the exam software,
Okay.
because there might be multiple files, hence there might be overload on your system, hence the software got shut. However, we have also enabled the simulation link in your member login. It is
All right.
available till today EOD. You can try again with the same process, and if just see if you face the similar issue now.
Okay, sir. I will check once. If I face any concern, I will contact the institute again.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, Vishwa, go ahead.
So I have this question about connectivity. So on the past paper in Feb, uh, I was just thrown out of exam because of I think lower bandwidth or connectivity issue. But I was lucky that my paper was almost over. The only thing was left was to click on submit button. But I was so tense at that moment because there was showing a message on screen that please don't get up from your seat while we are trying to reconnect. So I didn't move from my seat. And once it started again, I just clicked the submit button to avoid any suspicion that I didn't do anything wrong. So I didn't even change or check my answer. But if it happens again in midway of paper, what should I do in such situation? Should I just sit on my place, or I go out and grab my phone and call II that something a technical issue occurred and because of that I thrown out for exam? Because I have to call out someone to tell that please switch on and off Wi-Fi switch again or to do something because I was not getting up from my place.
So when you get disconnected from the system, please ensure that you inform the proctor, because the chat option is available. If there is minimal bandwidth as well, you can connect to proctor, you can seek the permission. If there is no response from the proctor and it is completely disruption of internet, please use your phone and reach out to the institute immediately stating your issue, and then we will help you to resolve that as well. If you need to switch your Wi-Fi, you have to inform the institute first.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Thank
just to
you.
add to Naresh, like whatever phone, keep it outside the room. Only
Correct.
use it in case of emergency. Do not keep it right next to you.
Okay.
So, we will take few more questions, and then we will wind up. And if any further questions are there, like students can mail us on exam@actuaries.org. We will respond.
Hi, can I proceed with my question?
Sure.
Yeah. Is it compulsory to use actuarial table bought from II only while doing the exam?
Yes.
Okay. So we can't use any actuarial table provided by any institute like actuators or something.
No.
Thank you.
Hi, I had a question regarding communicating with the proctor. Is there a way in which we can communicate it through the microphone itself, or is there a dedicated chat box to do so?
So there is a chat box. You cannot communicate through microphone. There is a chat box available during the examination. You can
Okay.
communicate through that. Yeah.
Okay, and in case of any power short cut, or in that case, my camera and the microphone both will be freezed. So in
Wait, you're
that
taking
case,
from a
if I
laptop, right?
yeah, I will be taking it from the laptop. But if there is a power cut and the Wi-Fi is not
Yeah, but
connected
your
with the
laptop has
system,
battery. Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
yeah,
But
in that, yeah,
can you buy a small backup for your router so Wi-Fi continues to go on in such cases?
um, okay, I will look into
Just to
it if
power
I
the
can
router.
arrange that.
I mean, there are these small power banks which you can get, which will just keep the router on and nothing else. And as long as your router is working and as long as your laptop is on
Yeah,
battery, you'll be fine.
yeah, but still, in in case the power is the Wi-Fi does not work, so can I just walk out of the room and contact the institute?
Yes.
Okay. And I had a small query regarding the past papers. I don't know if it is the correct platform to ask. I was solving some of the past papers for one of the subject which I'll be attempting in May, and while referring to the examiner's report, uh, in few questions it was written that none of the options were correct. So in such situations, how should I proceed?
Yes, you can mail us. We will get back to you on that part.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Kushi, you can ask. Or anyone else?
Veda. Uh,
Hello.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I was not able to unmute. Really sorry about that. Actually, I wanted to install the packages in R as specified, but I'm having some issues doing that. So how do I go about it? Can someone guide on that?
Have you attempted the mock exam?
Yeah, that time it was working, but yeah, I saw the guidelines now, and I saw that the packages, some packages are required. So yeah,
You can mail us. We will guide you.
okay.
So I think we can wind up as we have overshoot the time. All the students who have further queries, please mail us on exam@actuariescenter.org. We will revert. Okay, thank you so much, the panel.
Sir, can I, sir, can I ask a
Yeah.
question, sir? Sir, can the institute recommend a office space or something in certain cities from where we can attend the exam?
So if you are in Mumbai, you can come to institute to appear for the
Okay.
exam. Yeah. So our office is open for the candidates who are willing to appear for the exam from
Okay.
institute. First, you have to drop us an email stating your request. Then we will
Okay.
confirm on case-to-case basis.
Sir, any such option in Chennai, sir? No.
No.
So, but
Okay,
you
sir.
may
Thank
want to check out co-working spaces in Chennai because I'm from Chennai as well. So there are a lot of co-working spaces where you can block a meeting room for a few hours. So you may want to
Sir,
check that option out.
sir, do you know any space like that top of your mind?
Not immediately. I think it's best you search or ask the institute by email.
Fine, sir. Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I kind of know this because my wife used to work out of these co-working spaces for a while, and you could block the meeting room for like up to 8 hours or something. So definitely the options are there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, we'll wind up the session. If you have any queries or doubt, you can mail us. Thank you so much to the panel and all the participants for joining.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. All the very best. Do your best. Thank you.